Guys, what the heck is going on?
Everywhere, but most of the jurors sat stone.
In a hospital room, being kept alive only because she's pregnant.
So her case is now raising a lot of new questions about Georgia's controversial heartbeat law. Adrianna Smith's family says they've been forced to wait without a voice while doctors try to keep her body functioning long enough to deliver her baby.
11 Alive's Cody Alcorn is live outside of Emory Midtown, where Adrianna was just moved hours ago. Cody, what have you learned about what's going on here?
Well, Jennifer and Ron, Adrianna has been on a ventilator for the past 90 days. Now, as you mentioned, she was moved here just hours ago, so doctors can deliver her baby when it is time. Her family visits her every day, including her young son, who believes his mom is just sleeping. A crushing, emotional toll, as you can imagine. The family says it's been made worse because they have no say on what happens next. 30-year-old Adrianna Smith was about 9 weeks pregnant when she started having bad headaches in February.
Enough to know that something was wrong.
April Newkirk says her daughter went to Northside Hospital for help.
They gave her some medication, but they didn't do any tests. They didn't do any CT scans. If they did, they would have caught it.
The next morning, Adrianna's boyfriend noticed something was terribly wrong.
She was gasping for air in her sleep, gargling. More than likely it was blood. She was taken to Emory, Decatur, and then she was transferred here.
To Emory University Hospital, where Adrianna worked as an RN. Unfortunately, there was nothing doctors could do.
They did a CT scan and she had blood clots all in her head. So they had asked me if they could do a procedure to relieve them, and I said yes. And then they called me back and they said that they couldn't do it.
Doctors declared Adrianna brain dead.
I feel as if somebody dropped the ball at the hospitals, and her boyfriend asked, please keep her. If she was kept at the hospital, we wouldn't be here.
Because of Georgia's heartbeat bill, which bans abortions after a fetal heartbeat is detected, her family says they weren't given any say in what happens next.
It's torture for me. I come here and I see my daughter breathing by the ventilator, but she's not there. And I'm touching her. And she has a son. The heartbreaking to see her.
Now, 21 weeks pregnant, her baby's health uncertain.
She's pregnant with my grandson, but my grandson may be blind, may not be able to walk, wheelchair bound. We don't know if he'll live once she has him.
A situation she says no one should be forced into.
It should have been left up to the family because I'm in my 50s, her dad is in his 50s, so we're going to have the responsibility with her partner to raise her sons, you know? And I'm not saying that we would have chose to terminate her pregnancy. What I'm saying is we should have had a choice. We should have had a choice.
It's likely doctors will not induce Adrianna for at least another month. And it's not just the baby's health the family is worried about, also a medical bill. They say that continues to grow every day.
All right, Cody, thank you so much. We know you'll continue to follow this story for us. And right now, under Georgia law, once a fetal heartbeat is detected, abortion is illegal, even in cases like Adrianna's. In most states, decisions would defer to the mother or the next of kin, especially if the baby is unlikely to survive. But because Adrianna is brain dead and no longer technically at risk herself, the law requires doctors to keep her alive until the baby can survive on its own.
Did you hear about the woman in Georgia who was declared brain dead, but doctors are keeping her body alive because she's pregnant? They believe allowing her to die naturally would be the same as giving her an abortion, which is a direct violation of Georgia's heartbeat law. This is 30-year-old Adrianna Smith, and she is a registered nurse in Atlanta. And she was about 9 weeks pregnant when she first started having headaches. So she went to the hospital to see what was wrong. They gave her some medicine and sent her home without running any tests. The next morning, her boyfriend said she woke up gasping for air and gargling on blood. When they rushed her to the hospital, they learned that she had multiple blood clots in her brain. Since there was nothing that they could do to help her, they declared her brain dead. But more than 90 days later, her lifeless body is being used as an incubator for the child she has inside. Georgia's heartbeat law declares that a baby cannot be aborted unless under special circumstances, including if the baby is a danger to the mother's health. But since she's already passed away, she's not considered a danger. So they want to continue to grow the baby inside her womb until the baby's able to survive on its own at about 32 weeks. Adrianna's family believes the choice to keep the baby alive should be theirs and not up to the state. What do you think of this story? Leave a comment to let me know. I'm Tierka with the T. Follow for more.
And it's just sad when it's starting to feel like the hospital not even a safe place to go and they not making the best decisions that they could to help us. Are y'all keeping up with the girl, well, the lady who is brain dead, but they are keeping her alive because her baby got a heartbeat? This girl, mama them said they had no say-so in the decision to either pull the plug or keep her alive. Like, it's basically the state keeping her alive with a baby in her because the baby has a heart. But nobody is thinking about the child that she already has that go to the hospital every day to see her that feel like she's asleep. Nobody is talking about the mom and the dad that are up in age that already said, you know, if this baby come out and this baby have any issues, it's going to be a lot on us. We're up in age. Nobody's talking about the child father who already got, you know, his one child, and then the child that is growing inside of her, all the stuff he going to have to go through with this baby by herself. Nobody's talking about them going to the hospital every day to see this lady. And she just hooked up to all this stuff, but she's brain dead. Like, no shade. I just feel like there's so much pain on the body to know for a fact, like, it's no coming back for her, and we just got to go see her every day and support. Because this is what the state want to do instead of just pulling the plug and letting her and her baby go in peace.
So we are forcing a pregnant woman who is brain dead to stay on life support. Really, Georgia? Is that what we are really doing? So 30-year-old Adrianna Smith, who is pregnant with her second child, is on life support. And she's been on life support for more than 90 days at this point. And they did not give the family the option to remove her from life support. They do state that they may not have made that decision, but it not being able to be an actual decision that they can make is actually adding to the trauma. So back in February of this year, she was about 9 weeks pregnant and she started to experience some very intense headaches. And so she went to the emergency room. Now she is a nurse herself and she knew something was wrong. So she went to the hospital to get checked out. They told her that it was just probably something that they can treat with medicine, gave her a prescription and sent her on the way. They did not do any tests. They did not do any CT scans. They did not keep her overnight. They just said, oh, take these and head out. So she did so. In the middle of the night, her boyfriend heard her like breathing, gasping for air, and he knew something was wrong, so he immediately called 911, and they get her to the hospital, and one of the first things that they did was a CT scan. Guess what they found? Blood clots in her brain. Several blood clots in her brain. They did ask to go ahead and do surgery, and they got permission to do surgery, and they immediately come back and say, we don't think we're going to be able to do surgery. She's brain dead. But they're trying to process that and how to move forward. And then they find out that they are forced to leave her on the actual life support equipment because of the baby. So because of the Georgia's heartbeat law, they are trying to consider it, you know, if they take her off of life support, that it will be considered an abortion versus actually the care for the actual mother carrying the baby. So they put her situation in this gray spot area because they're trying to force it into the, well, it would be an abortion if you take the mom off of life support, even though the mom is brain dead at this point. So she is currently 21 weeks pregnant and of course still on life support, and the medical team is thinking that at about 32 weeks, they'll be able to take the baby out of her, and then, you know, the family can make the decision what to do about life support. But they are forcing the family to keep her on life support until she is at least 32 weeks, and they think that the baby will be viable out of her body. I honestly don't think this baby will be surviving this, because if the baby's been on life support since 9 weeks and you're going to wait all the way to 32 weeks, that is a very long time. That is critical time for the baby to be developing And they're not really going to be, because the mom is not doing no development. She's not doing nothing. So this seems so traumatic for this family to experience. Now, Adrianna Smith does have a little boy, so this was not her first child, and she was expecting a boy. Now, currently, she's carrying a boy now. But this is a very traumatic experience for him, because he just is like, my mom's in the hospital, and he's, waiting for his brother to get here. So he's very young and very unaware of the actual gravity of the situation. But her mom, her boyfriend, and the rest of her family are just very stuck in a place of not knowing what to do, because the decision that they would need to make for her based on what she told them she wanted, they can't even get to do that. So this is a very, very hard place to be in for the family. My heart goes out to them as they are trying to navigate the situation they've been forced in by Georgia's law.
This developing story out of Georgia is going to break the internet in the next 24 hours, I'm telling you now. Mark my words, so we might as well talk about it. If you ain't heard yet, there's a young woman out of Georgia named Adrianna Smith. She about a 30-year-old nurse. She been on life support for 90 days now, and she's clinically brain dead. And they won't pull the plug because they can't. Surprise, there was 2 lives. Now, a couple months ago, she started having headaches. Went to the doctor, sounds like they blew her off. Went home, passed away, brought her back. She had multiple blood clots, and unfortunately, she went with the Lord. Now, that's bad enough. Terrible, tragic situation. But it turns out she was 9 weeks pregnant. This is where the issue's coming in. Well, a lot of people don't understand. Now it's becoming political because of Georgia's heartbeat law. 6 weeks can't terminate. So she's 21 weeks pregnant right now, been brain dead for over 90 days. The plan is to deliver at 32 weeks. The family's talking about how much emotional trauma they went through and how they were basically stripped of the choice. And this is going to become a liberal talking point, mark my word. But what you all don't understand is this. Yes, this is terrible in every way. We get that. But this is a whole nother patient. This woman cannot make decisions for herself. You can't have it both ways. My body, my choice. The father doesn't get a say in whether you can abort or not abort and turn around and take this child's life. This child didn't do nothing. If it was me and only me, there's no way I'd give up on that kid. The last piece of my daughter, there's no way. But to each their own. People are calling it the handmaid's tale. Look, I'm gonna need y'all to stop. You don't know if this woman would have wanted her child to be born or not. And she can't tell you because she is brain dead. She already has 1 son. Maybe her choice would have been for live beyond all else. Let's not make this a political issue because it's an ethical issue. The hospital cannot terminate because this is another patient. This is another life. You can talk about who's going to pay for the medical bill, who's going to have to raise the kid if it lives. Here's an idea. Set up a fundraiser for them. Stop giving it all to the bad people in society. But what we ain't going to do is sit here and pretend that this baby is not a miracle, that keeping it alive is a bad thing. Yes, this is traumatic as fuck for the family. I could imagine. Hell, I've seen shit like this in my nursing career. A lot of moms would give their lives to have their children. You don't know what she would have done. How could you possibly stand on my body, my choice, defend that it's the woman's choice, and then turn around and want to let next of kin decide what to do with it? Well, that just destroys your entire argument, doesn't it? No, you can't have it both ways. Pick a path and stay on it, y'all. This is a tragic situation, and abortion should never be brought up. This is not political, it's ethical. And the hospital's doing what it has to do here. This is a totally separate life. You want to be mad at somebody? You want to be outraged over something? Be mad at the hospital negligence that let this nurse get in this shape and missed it. Don't be mad because a life is being born out of fucking tragedy. That's all I got to say about it. Go with the Lord.
Did y'all know because of fucking Georgia heartbeat law, this 30-year-old woman, Adrianna Smith, who physically and legally has been pronounced deceased as of 90 days ago, because she was pregnant at the time of her passing, the Georgia heartbeat law, against her family wishes and everything, they can't even properly bury this young, beautiful lady. Because of Georgia's heartbeat law, they're literally keeping her body on a fucking ventilator to pretty much carry the baby damn near to full term. Y'all are going to force that baby to live in this world without its mother, to never know her sweet hug, her sweet voice, her touch, her laugh. She won't be here to teach them anything. Y'all are fucked up. And I hate this world. I fuck y'all. And whoever sit up there and make them kind of laws, how the hell do y'all think this is better for her family and that child? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, it don't even make sense. Would you want to be here?
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you are watching this video. This is a story that has got a lot of people, every color, every race of women up in a tansy, because this black woman, Adrianna Smith, is being forced against her will to have a baby because she is legally brain dead because of Georgia state law, of the heartbeat law that Georgia put into place 3 years ago. And this is causing an uproar everywhere. And this is sad. And I'm glad that every race of woman is coming into agreement and sticking up for this woman. And people need to, we need to really raise our voice about this. This is ridiculous. A woman cannot be an incubator for a fetus just because his heart is beating and the mother is dead. Oh my gosh. Adrianna Smith was declared brain dead after a medical emergency and has kept on life support for 3 months. She had brain clots in her head. She went into the hospital because she had terrible headaches. And they just gave her medication. They sent her home. Her boyfriend woke up to her gurgling on blood. And when they went back to the hospital, they found out that she had blood clots in her brain. They called the mother, asked the mother, hey, do you want to do this surgery? And then the mother said yes. They called her back a second later and said, nope, we can't do it. And she died. Doctors to allow enough time for the baby to be born and comply with Georgia's strict anti-abortion law, family members say. The case is the latest consequence of abortion bans introduced in some states since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade 3 years ago. Adrianna Smith, a 30-year-old mother and nurse, was declared brain dead, meaning she is legally dead. In February, her mother, April Newkirk, told Atlanta TV station, Newkirk said her daughter had intense headaches more than 3 months ago and went to Atlanta's Northside Hospital. This is where she worked, where she received medication and was released. The next morning, her boyfriend woke to her gasping for air and calling 911. Emory University Hospital determined she had blood clots in her brain and was later declared brain dead. April said Adrian is now 20 weeks pregnant. Removing breathing tubes and other life-saving devices would kill the fetus. Neither hospital immediately responded to emails. Adrianna's family says Emory doctors have told them they are not allowed to stop or remove the devices that are keeping her breathing because of the provision in state law that bans abortion for cardiac activity can be detected, generally around 6 weeks into pregnancy. The law was adopted in 2019, but not enforced until after the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade in 2022, opening the door to state abortion bans. Georgia's ban includes an exemption if an abortion is necessary to maintain the life of the woman. Adrianna's family, including her 5-year-old son, still visits her hospital. April said the doctors told the family that the fetus had fluid on the brain and that they are concerned about its health. And it's sad because Adrian's 5-year-old son thinks she's sleepy. He doesn't know that she's dead. Adrian's pregnant with my grandson, but he may be blind, may not be able to walk, may not survive once he's born, April said. April has not commented on whether the family wants Adrian removed from life support. She can't. The family tried. They can't. Maka Simpson, executive director of Sister Song, which is led a lawsuit challenging Georgia's strict abortion law. The situation is problematic. Adrian's family deserve the right to have decision-making power about her medical decisions. Monica said. Power about her medical decisions. Monica said in a statement, instead they have endured over 90 days of re-traumatization, expensive medical costs, and the cruelty of being unable to resolve and move toward healing. Lauren Shepard, a bioethics and law professor at the University of Virginia, says she does not believe Georgia's law requires life support in this case, but she said whether the state could insist Adrianna remains on the breather and other devices is uncertain since the 2022 ruling in Dubs versus Jackson's Women's Health Organization, which overturned all the parts of the Roe ruling, including the finding that fetuses do not have the rights of people. Pre-Dubs, a fetus didn't have any rights. She said, and the state's interest in the fetal life could not be so strong as to overcome other important rights, but now we don't know. Georgia's law confers personhood on a fetus. Those who favor personhood said fetalized eggs, embryos, and fetuses should be considered people with the same rights as though already born. Georgia State Senator Ed Sittler, a Republican who sponsored the 2019 law, said he supported Eberty's interpretation. I think it's completely appropriate that the hospital do what they can to save the life of the child. I think it's an unusual circumstance, but I think it highlights the value of innocent human life. I think the hospital is acting appropriately. He believes it is sometimes acceptable to remove life support for someone who is brain dead, but said the law is an appropriate check because the mother is pregnant. I think there's a value human life that we have it appropriate to save, and I think it's the right thing to save it, he said. To suggest otherwise, it is to declare the child as being other than human. Adrianna's relatives have good choices, including keeping the child or offering it for adoption. Georgia's abortion ban has been in the spotlight before. Last year, ProPublica reported that 2 Georgia women died after they did not get proper medical treatment for complications from taking abortion pills. The stories of Amber Thurman and Candy Miller entered into the presidential race, with Democrat Kamala Harris saying the deaths were the result of the abortion bans that went into effect in Georgia and where else. This is so sad, you guys, that she has to endure this. The family has to endure torture, all because of a law. And I don't think this has to do with race or anything just because the woman's black. I don't think it is. I think I would be in an uproar if it was any type of woman that had to go through this. There are probably many cases before this and we don't even know about it because the family didn't go to the media. And this is very upsetting. Very upsetting. And this law needs to be banned itself. You know, this baby is already having problems because the mother is dead. The state of Georgia is not paying medical bills. They're not paying for the baby's long life. Maybe the baby has to be in a wheelchair or something. Georgia's not going to pay for it. It's going to have to be on the parents. It's going to have to be, if the parents decide to adopt it, it's on them. It may be on the father, but not on the state of Georgia. And I think that's sad because the medical bills are piling and the family is getting the medical bills, not the state of Georgia. What do you guys think about this? Leave a comment below. This is very sad that this is happening. All because of a 9-week fetus. But hell, what do I know? I'm just a talking head. Have a great day, YouTube.
Hey players, so this is Andrea Smith. She's from Georgia. She's a nurse and a mother. And unfortunately, she was declared brain dead over 90 days ago back in February. Now, at that time, she was 9 weeks pregnant. But she's been kept alive this entire time because of Georgia's heartbeat law. This law is now forcing her family to keep her on life support as a human incubator. Let's talk about it. So according to Adrianna's mother, she was nearly 9 weeks pregnant in early February when she started experiencing intense headaches. So she sought treatment at Northside Hospital but was released after being given medication. According to her boyfriend, the next morning he woke up and she was gasping for air in her sleep and making gurgling sounds. He called 911 and Adrianna was taken to Emory Decatur but later transferred to Emory University Hospital where she was a registered nurse. Ultimately, a CT scan revealed multiple blood clots in her brain. So the hospital staff asked her mother if she would agree to a procedure to relieve the pressure on her brain. She said yes, but they later called her back and said that they couldn't do it. She was then declared brain dead. Her family was by her side every day since, including her young son, who said, and they said that he believes that his mother is just sleeping. So now the family is not given the hard decision of taking her off of life support because she was 9 weeks pregnant. So she's being kept alive just so she could give birth to this baby. So last Tuesday, she was moved to Emory Midtown, where the family was told they were better equipped to handle her pregnancy. The plan now is to keep her alive until doctors believe the baby can survive outside of the womb, likely at 32 weeks gestation. She is currently 21 weeks. Now, this is being done strictly because of Georgia's heartbeat law that has limited exceptions. I mean, this is just absolutely absurd. Because she is brain dead and no longer considered a risk to herself, her medical treatment is legally required to maintain life support until the fetus reaches viability. They don't even know if the fetus is going to be blind or have any type of health issues. They don't know anything at this point, but she's being kept alive and they are not allowed to make any decisions regarding this. This is absolutely disturbing, and I'm keeping this family in my thoughts and prayers. It's just sad, and something should be done about this because this should never happen. Players, put your thoughts in the comments. It's Double D Mo for the Black Street News.
I don't get it. Why is it that every time a black woman has an issue, there is a white woman like you who wants to step over and ignore them and center yourselves in the issue? The video in reference is about Adrianna Smith, who is a black woman. A black woman. And that is a key part of the story, is that it's about a black woman. This black woman was pregnant. This black woman was having medical complications. This black woman went to her medical providers and was ignored. This black woman, while her problems were getting worse, was only given medication and not any further interventions or any other scans. A black woman who, as her problems got worse, ended up in a coma and is now brain dead. And because of the lack of interventions, because black women tend to be ignored and tend to have worse medical complications while pregnant, is now unable to have her life ended by having the plug pulled because Georgia state law says that she has to stay on while still pregnant. Only a white woman like you see an issue where black women tend to overwhelmingly get ignored and then want to ignore that aspect. Only a white woman like you would see putting a spotlight on a glaring problem when it comes to medical care for black women as a way to divide people because it doesn't put you front row center. Only a white woman like you would see an issue like this where Black women are not getting the care they need because they're being ignored, and seeing that if we address this massive blind spot, that it wouldn't only just benefit Black women, it would benefit everybody else, because what usually helps Black women tends to reciprocate everywhere else in society. But you can't see that because you want to ignore Black women. In this case, if you actually wanted to help and actually get shit done, it'd probably be a better situation if you just shut your fucking mouth.
30-year-old Adrianna Smith was about 9 weeks pregnant when she started
Women are not incubators. She went in at 9 weeks. So the government is going to force her body to stay there and be an incubator until the state is satisfied and can remove a baby from her. And it will then force her surviving family to pay and care for despite the likely complications. You cannot use or take organs from dead people. Dead people have more rights than women in this country. You can't force people to donate blood, no matter how many alive babies, children, and adults need it. You can't force a parent to give up an organ that they don't even need for their dying child, alive child. It is so intrusive and unfathomable and disgusting to do this to someone and their family. It absolutely disgusting.
So women have now become incubators. In Georgia, there is a woman right now that is brain dead, completely brain dead, no function. She's pregnant. She is now an incubator because of the heartbeat laws in Georgia. They don't even know if that baby's going to survive. They don't know if that baby's going to be able to have its vision. They don't know anything. But they just know that baby has to survive. And the parents have no say-so. She has been brain dead for 90 days. 90 days just to make sure that baby is delivered. Is this what we have come to? Is this what our country has come to, that now women are not even worth saving? Because she went to the hospital. She said she had headaches. Her boyfriend said, can you please keep her? They sent her home. She came back. They found blood clots that reached up to her brain. And now they're forcing her body to lay there and carry that baby without any family consent or decisions. This is what's going to start happening to women everywhere. Everywhere. Our bodies are not our own anymore. Now, even if we're dead, they're going to keep us on some type of support just to push that child out, not knowing if that child is going to have any issues whatsoever. And let's keep in mind, this woman that I'm speaking of, her name is Adrianna Smith. She was 30 years old. She has a 7-year-old son that constantly visits her, thinking that his mommy is just sleeping. And her family can't even tell him what's going on because he still sees his mommy sleeping. She was a nurse, a mother. This is dehumanizing. This is far reach of controlling someone's body. It is getting worse and worse out here for women. And I'm sorry to Adrianna's parents who have no say-so on what happens to her or that child she is carrying, because her mother is 50. Her mother already has to take care of the 7-year-old. And that mother says, if that child is born with disabilities, I'm 50 years old. We are the only caretakers left. Besides the father, we're going to have to help. She said we should have had a choice in if that baby still made it. She said, we're not saying that we would have aborted the child, but at least gave us decision and find out exactly what is going on inside of their daughter's belly. We got to get these fucking Republicans out of this house, out of the Senate, and out of the fucking White House so we can overturn this 6-week abortion ban, because it's getting out of hand.
This is 30-year-old Adrianna Smith, and every single person in this country needs to know her name, because what is happening to her and her family is absolutely atrocious. She is literally being used as a human incubator. And I don't say that to sound insensitive. I say that because it needs to be said that bluntly so people can understand why laws that keep women from terminating pregnancies even after death are extremely inhumane. Back in February, Adrianna Smith, a RN who was pregnant with her second child, noticed she was having headaches. Adrianna knew that these headaches were not normal, not only because she's an RN, but because this was her second pregnancy and she knew something was wrong. So she goes to the ER and they dismiss her. And instead of running any tests, they give her some medicine and send her on her way against her will. Her and her boyfriend wanted her to be checked into the hospital, but they did not allow it. And then the following day, her boyfriend wakes up to something horrific. Adrianna was gasping for air and gargling on what they believe was blood. They rushed her back to the hospital and it was found that she had multiple aneurysms in her brain and it was too late. Doctors said that she was brain dead and there was nothing else they could do. But because she was 9 weeks pregnant and lives in Georgia where they have the heartbeat law where you cannot terminate a pregnancy after a baby's heartbeat is detected, regardless if you are brain dead or not, her family was not even given the option to take her off life support. So for the last 90 days, Adrianna's body has been kept alive regardless of her being brain dead because of this law. Her parents, her partner had no say in it. They were not even given an option. Her mother, April, says that they are not even sure if they would have decided to terminate the pregnancy or not, but the fact that they didn't have a choice is what is so upsetting. And now they are forced to go and visit their daughter's body, even though she is no longer alive, every single day until Adrianna's son is viable outside of the womb. She said it's extremely hard and difficult for the family to have to go and visit Adrianna every single day, knowing that she is no longer with them. And even more heartbreaking, her little boy thinks that she's just sleeping and will wake up, even though she has not been with them for months. And mind you, there is a hospital bill that is continuing to grow every single day because being on life support is not cheap. And is the state of Georgia going to pay for this? No, they're not. The family is going to be responsible for these medical costs. And on top of everything, her child's health is not even certain. Right now, at 21 weeks, there is fluid around his brain. They say that he may be born blind, unable to walk. It is just not looking good. So if this tragic story of Adrianna's does not enrage you, then you are the problem. This should not be happening in the year 2025. It is disgusting.
You've got to be kidding me. In Georgia, they're keeping a 30-year-old woman named Adrianna Smith on life support with an unborn child in her, and they're not letting her family terminate this pregnancy. She's gone already. What more do you want? It's literally, Georgia is a pro-life state, so of course their agenda just shows that they care more of an unborn child more than a woman's life. Like, from the beginning though, like, Adrianna, was going through complications with her head, and she got like some headaches, and I guess the doctors, don't take people of color serious usually, and they ended up finding in the end that she had blood clots in her brain and she got an aneurysm, and she was already 9 weeks pregnant along, and oh my god, I can't even talk because it's so infuriating that they fucking care about like a fucking unborn child more than her life. Like they're still having her go with this pregnancy, and she's dead already, and most likely that unborn child is not even going to survive this. So it's not even a win-win to them, and they clearly can only give a fuck about the unborn child more than the woman. Like, that's like, seriously, like at an extent, like, pro-lifers, like, how do you not see this is so fucking wrong? And like, if they keep up with this, dude, you're gonna see.
So I'm sure a lot of y'all have already heard the story of the woman that has been on a ventilator for months at this point, because in her state, they have an abortion ban to where they're keeping her body alive through machines. Her brain is dead so that they can wait to deliver the baby. So we already know that that's inhumane, to use her as an incubator and to force her families to wait months to mourn the death of her because she is already dead. But then I also am curious as to who pays for that. If she's technically dead, is her family responsible for paying for that hospital bill when they kept her on a ventilator for months because they want to save a child that is going to come into a world without a parent? Or does she have assurance? Does her assurance still cover that if she's technically dead? Who pays for that when y'all are forcing a person? Y'all will force women alive to have kids. Now you're even forcing the dead to do it.
We need to tell it like it is, or what's going on with Adrianna Smith. Despite the fact that this beautiful queen is brain dead, these doctors are assaulting this woman by forcing her to carry on a pregnancy, despite the fact that she is dead. because brain dead equals fucking dead. There's no other way to prove it. If you can't accept that, that's on you. Now, men, especially black men, I need y'all to understand something very fucking closely, and I'm gonna use a quote. The right to life doesn't supersede the right to one's body. I will repeat, the right to life doesn't supersede the right to one's body. Especially when you consider the fact that life is not a right, it's a fucking privilege. No, I will not be elaborating. Things like this were allowed to happen because we've turned misogyny into a subjective topic. There's nothing fucking subjective about oppressing, let alone assaulting women, which is what the fuck is.
Hey y'all, hey, on today's episode of What the Hell is Going On in America? Well, let me tell you. First of all, I've been shadow banned, so I don't even know if you will see this. I had a couple of other videos up yesterday and was told that the second part of my video was muted. So I had to take them down, and like it only had like 100 views. I don't know what's going on, but whatever. I'm still gonna put out information and hopefully you guys get it. So I don't know if you guys heard, but there's a young woman, Adrianna Smith, and she's out of Georgia, which we all know is a red state. And she was considered brain dead, and she was considered pregnant too. They are keeping this woman on a ventilator, on oxygen, just to keep the baby alive, y'all. Just to keep the baby alive. Yes, you heard right. Had no consent from the mother before she died, and the family is saying, take her off the ventilators, take her off of life support, and they will not listen because of the baby in her stomach, because of the abortion laws that they have made in Georgia. Y'all, this is a scary, scary time. I don't know if you guys watched Handmaid's Tale. That's exactly what this reminds me of. Our body is no longer ours. They're using us as incubators, y'all. We really have to do something because shit is getting crazy. And I'm telling y'all right now, if I'm ever pregnant and I go brain dead, y'all better let me die. I'm telling y'all right now. This is proof right now. Let me die. Let the child just go, because there's no proof that this child is even going to survive outside of the womb. Like, this is like really messing me up, y'all. Like, every day I wake up, there's some bullshit. There's some bullshit. Like, no day can go by without having no weird ass shit happen. Tell me what y'all think about this. How do you feel about this woman being completely brain dead? Her family saying, no, just discontinue everything. And they're like, no, we're keeping her alive for this baby. And on top of that, the family is responsible for the medical bills after this. Woo! Crazy, crazy, crazy. Tell me what y'all think.
This story makes me physically sick. And when you hear about it, you will be sick too. Adrianna Smith was a registered nurse who was 9 weeks pregnant. She went in for a checkup, had a ton of headaches. I think she fell asleep, couldn't wake up. Come to find out, she had a blood clot in her brain. The hospital pronounced her brain dead. However, she is being kept alive. She is being kept alive as an incubator. Why? Georgia law. It requires the baby be born after 6 weeks. So they're keeping her body alive so the baby can be born. This is inhumane. First off, the family has no say. They're not allowing the family to have any say in what happens. But also, you already know, if this baby gets born, Georgia isn't going to do a damn thing to make sure it has a good life. It can live. They're just doing it to have it be born. And this is my issue with these abortion laws. I understand the idea of giving everybody a chance at life. But when we get to the point where we're using bodies as incubators for these babies, that to me is a step too far. That's not pro-life. That's just being anti-abortion. And if this baby does live, it will live without its mother. So now someone else has to raise it and take care of it. Georgia's not going to do anything. I'm assuming the family will take responsibility. But I also hate the fact that the hospital bill will also be put on the family's heads. She's been in that hospital for 3 months now. Since February. That just sounds evil. It just sounds wrong. This is too much, y'all. I'm a Christian, and I don't agree with this. If the family wants to take her off life support, they should be able to do that. No one else should decide that. No law, no governor, nobody in that hospital. But that's just me. You give me your thoughts down below about this. Jesus, you're not crazy.
Riddle me this. If pregnancy is God's will, then isn't death also God's will? So why is a brain dead woman being kept on life support to carry a pregnancy? If her body can't survive on its own, then isn't that God's will? Pro-lifers love to say that if a woman died or dies or is dying from pregnancy complications that could have been avoided by ending the pregnancy but couldn't, that's all God's plan. But now this woman is being forced to stay alive on machines to carry a fetus to term. Without life support, she would be gone. That is the natural outcome of what happened to her. So if you truly believe in leaving things up to God's will, then why are you playing God and keeping a corpse as a functioning incubator? You can't have it both ways. Either you believe in divine will or you only invoke it when it suits your agenda.